doing the basics of waxing eyebrows, and this is waxing without any tint or without adding in color. This is just basic waxing. So the very first step is to hand sanitize in front of your client, and as you can see, we have our sticks prepared, our strips, our cotton, our brow brush, and in the sanitizer we have our scissor and our tweezers. So we have gotten the client ready by toweling them up to make sure that none of their hair is exposed and that they are ready for this procedure. And the first thing they're going to do is we're going to remove any makeup or any other debris that's left on the brows. So we're going to be using Gigi Pre-Hun, which is our first step on cotton. And we're going to gently sweep up, preparing the eyebrow and the skin around it for wax. Before I apply the wax, I'm going to prep the eyebrow by gently brushing up the hair and cutting anything that exceeds the natural brow shape. This way, in case there's wind or manipulation from putting on or off clothing, the eyebrow will always remain intact. Okay, the very next thing that we're going to do is we are going to test the wax. Every time I use a stick, I use the front of the stick and the back of the stick, and then it goes directly into the trash, so I have the trash ready. Right now I take the wax that I've preheated inside my wrist and I apply a strip and make sure that it is not too hot and that it's also warm enough to do a really good job on the eyebrow. And it's fine. I love the temperature. It's going to work out well for me. Okay. I dip slightly the wax onto the stick, just creating enough of an amount to gently glide across the entire bottom of the brow. I never go too close to the hair line because it's going to stretch when you press the wax down. I try to stay at least 1/8 of an inch away, and I drag it all the way down across the bottom. I apply my first wax strip on the entire eye, and I gently glide it across. I always peek to make sure I don't have too much hair in there. And at this point, I pull the skin down and take the brow strip off. As you could see, anything that was coming out too far is going to come off onto that. The next section is the top of the brow. Again, I want to stay at least 1/8 of an inch away to 1/16 of an inch away from the actual brow line, making sure that I have even amount of wax going from the front to the back. If I find that I've run out of wax, I flip out the stick so that I'm using a clean, unsanitized portion to dip the wax into. In some cases, I've had to use more than 2 sticks. It's okay. Now for this, we have to take it off in 2 sections. First, we're going to take the tail of the brow to the center of the brow because that's a sharp direction going from the brow to the top of the bang area. Pull the skin and gently remove. Now I simply flip this around and face another direction that goes from the top of the brow towards the center of the nose. And that's a different pulling direction, so that's why I do it in 2 steps. Pull the skin and move forward. If there's some remaining wax, that's fine. You just put on a clean strip from that point and simply do the same routine. Next, I'm going to dip my clean stick again, and I'm going to the center, which I only make sure that I get only the center, and I stay at least 1/4 of an inch away from both edges of the brow. And the reason for that is I prefer a natural shape in the center I think that the style indicates that natural brows are the best. And then I'm going to follow that philosophy and do just that. Now I'm going to move on to the second brow. Again, I'm going to go on the inside first. So I just have to angle my hands differently and sweep this wax liberally but carefully across the entire brow. Again, if you feel that you've run out of wax before you've run out of eyebrow, just take a clean stick, re-dip it. Don't be afraid to go back in. Sometimes the distribution of wax could be a little bit different on both eyes. Again, I'm going straight over the entire brow. I'm coming across with the weight of my finger. And again, I'm going to use my fingers to hold the skin back and gently remove the strip. If you feel that some of the wax is still there, it's fine to take a clean strip and just remove that excess wax that didn't come off on the first comb. Now we're going to be working on the top part of this brow. You want to take a liberal amount of wax, stay about 1/8 of an inch away from the actual brow shape because the wax itself is going to go down into those areas. Taking a clean stick because I need more wax. I'm coming down and around the shape of the brow, allowing its natural shape to guide where the wax is put. From this position, I'm going to only take the bottom part first because this angle is going to be different from the pull of that angle. I gently guide my thumb across to ensure that there's good contact with the brow and the wax. And then I simply turn this around. And now I've changed the direction, going from the middle of the brow to the middle of the nose. And I'm pulling in that direction now. At this point, I have the basic shape that I'm looking for, but now I have to take that extra step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the post-wax cooling gel by Gigi, and I'm going to apply it very liberally, in fact heavily, over both brows. Every place that I hit with the wax, I'm going to leave it on as like a little bit of a clump until I'm ready to do the next step. This is going to prepare the brows for any kind of fine tuning, which I'm going to use a tweezer. Okay, so I'm going to take my tweezer that has been sanitized, dry it off, and now I'm going to be using my mirror to now clean the brow efficiently. So I'm going to remove the cooling gel, and at this point stretch the skin and take out any of the hairs that have been previously missed. Those hairs that come out are going to be wiped off with a piece of cotton. Carefully dragged across. You don't want to remove so much, you just want to remove anything that you missed with the wax. Now you're going to go to the second brow and do the same thing. Making sure that the light is directly facing your client. Again, you want to make sure you get every single hair because there's several different stages of growth. So you might have very short hairs that didn't come out with the wax. That's okay. You got to get it with the tweezer because you do not want the person to leave with any kind of growth whatsoever. Again, frequently wiping it with the clean cotton that you've already prepared. Should only be some spare hairs here that are in a different stage of growth. Okay. After that stage, we're going to use Gigi Slow Grow on a clean piece of cotton. And we're going to apply some Slow Grow to the brows in the center, going out from the center of the brow to the edge of the eye. And then you're going to take your brow brush and you're going to put your brow in the desired shape that it should look. If at this point there is any hair that exceeds the natural shape of the brow in either direction, going down or up, this is the time where you want to trim it. That's Brows 101.